Next question. Pieces of Nika asks, how do we handle compromise in our marriage? For example, if we were to buy a bedroom suit and I were to love it but Trey doesn't, and we can't find one that we both like, how do we handle that problem?
We don't buy it.
We don't buy it. Because, you know, we live in a loft and we have different styles. For example, when it comes to decorating, like, he'll go to,
we complement one another.
We do compliment one
Our
another.
house wouldn't be dope if it wasn't for both of us.
Yeah, some things you just, you know, is a definite no. You know, like, I'm not going to have him
I take it to the next level.
Having random, like, he had, like, this mannequin legs things that
mannequins are dope, though.
Just the legs part that he hung from, like, the little ceiling part in the loft. And I'm like, no, that's creepy. That's not going in the house. Black. But then there are things that it's just like, okay, I know this is him. I know this is genuinely him. This is his style. And I cannot say that that can't go in the house because...
Example. What about me?
Like
compromise in general.
Okay, so he collects, for instance, gumball machines. And so I'm like, okay, I know that's his thing. He goes, he finds a gumball machine.
Vintage gumball machines, like
yard
wooden
sale.
ones.
Yeah, so
and cameras.
Oh, I understand that. And vintage cameras. So I'm like, okay, babe, like you can bring them in the house. Now we just have to like move them from right beside the TV to somewhere else in the house.
Yeah.
But
I think if I can say something about compromise, I think the biggest thing for us has been understanding that the biggest gift you can give your spouse is the ability to be themselves, right? And we learned that through radical love. Again, that's one of the tips. And I know, as she said about my gumball machines, I know that Tia, say for instance, like small stuff like that I wouldn't buy, like toiletries. Like all her stuff is like on point. Like she gets the lotions, the soft toilet tissues, the garbage bags got scent in them. You know, it's like scented garbage bags. I mean, she got everything that I would try to be like minimalize. It's like that's really her thing. Like she likes to take care. She likes to be clean. She washes clothes nearly every day. Like I usually don't do all that stuff. So I can give her like a heck of a time if I wanted to, but it's like, man, is this really knowing what battles are really yours and what aren't? Yeah. And again, I think compromise works when you're willing to try and outserve your spouse. So I want to outserve her at serving, and the opposite for her. She should want to outserve me, right?
This guy might get lucky tonight.
Might. Mrs. Cook.
Celestina.
Celestina. Tia, what adjustments did you have to make for Trey? Trey, what adjustments did you have to make for Tia?
One, trying to cook. Let me tell you. Okay, I came from a house where I did no cooking. My mom did all the cooking. She didn't cook that much, but she did cook
she got
some days. And
too.
So when we first came back from our honeymoon, I was like, oh snap. Like when we finally got back to real life, like how it goes on a regular, I'm like, I gotta cook dinner and I have no idea what to cook. So you guys have seen my whole dilemma with cooking, and I vowed to get better at it. We're going to take some steps. So we're going to attack it as a team. But that was a really, really big adjustment for me.
Cooking?
Yeah.
You still adjusting? Big adjustments for me. What is a big adjustment? I guess not really cleaning, because I don't really be cleaning that much. I do try to keep
that right.
I don't do that good. That's not
sometimes,
good. I ain't adjusted well. Maybe I'm still adjusting.
He leaves his clothes everywhere, and that irks
not everywhere.
Like in our bedroom, he'll leave his socks. He'll leave his shorts that he wears to sleep on the floor. His underwear. I just can't.
I mean, overall, having a wife and dealing with a woman every single day, like having another piece, I have really become, like you said, patient. It takes a lot of patience to deal with you. You know that? A whole lot. She's a little firecracker. She my little firecracker. I like it from time to time. Don't get me wrong. It ain't all the time that I let her get away with her firecracker ways. Jessica Wilson, you asked, do you guys have a religion? Religion in a broad spectrum, I guess you can say that we are Christians, right? But a huge part of our relationship and our family values that we've gone back, assessed, prayed about, talked about, fasted for, is really the understanding of the difference between religion, a way of doing things, you know, the structure, the order, versus relationship. And we put a huge emphasis on our relationship with Christ. Rather than just the ways of doing things.
Yeah, just the, like, you know how you can get in like a routine where it's just like, I'm doing this because every Sunday you're supposed to go to church. And it's just like, well, when you go to church on that Sunday, are you really there? Like, are you really being fed? Are you really, you know, taking what you've, you know, learned and applying it to your life and those principles and sharing that with other people? Like, you know, so instead of just doing mundane tasks over and over and over, it's just kind of like, do you have a relationship, you know?
Can you constantly call out, you know, God, I need you. I need wisdom on this topic. I need you to be with me when I walk into the workplace. I need you to be with me while we do this interview. And all those things. So it's really about relationships. So I encourage you, if, you know, if it's the, you know, religion is always this topic that gets pretty tough for individuals or people in general. But there's a huge emphasis that we place inside of our relationship on Jesus Christ. And just knowing the relationship that he shares for us, you know what I mean? As a husband, he taught me, you know, as his church, his bride, as a people, I should be doing the same thing for my wife, my bride, my queen, my everything.
Right.
Right? Love,
and I'm his
order.
Proverbs 31 woman.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Amy on Fabulous B. What do you guys do to improve your relationship with God? As a couple, do you guys talk, pray to him together? So we'll address those first too, since we just talked about religion and relationship. One of the things that we definitely do, we have recently just joined the house church under Grace Midtown. It's the young married couples house church, and it's really about getting connected, allowing the image of marriage to be, I guess, put on a platform to share with others, let them know that love exists, love is a blessing, you know,
that
it's
marriage
honored by God.
Is perfectly designed by God, but the people in marriage are perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So those are the factors that, you know, being connected is definitely one piece of how we improve our relationship. We do pray together. In the past, not currently, we're not currently fasting right now, but we have fasted together. Again, like we mentioned about our engagement process, we went completely vegetarian for 1.5 years just to build in different layers of discipline into our relationship.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that we've done. And anytime we feel, we constantly ask each other, you know, so how are you feeling? How, you know, spiritually, where are you at?
Yeah.
Doing those checks.
Open communication.
Yeah, doing those checks and those balances as to where your spouse actually stands, and you're not overlooking their spiritual needs.
Right. Fabulous B also asked, where did we meet? So I'm originally from Augusta, Georgia. I moved to Atlanta in 6th grade. He's from Long Island.
I moved to
originally
Long Island. I moved to Atlanta in '96.
And we met in high school. Babe Ruth Thuck.
That's jumping though. You know, I'm a baseball fan.
Did you at any point battle with putting trade before God, such as treating him as an idol in any way?
Ooh, good question, babe.
Very good question. I would say there was one point where I kind of lost focus on how God wanted me to be as a wife, and it was initially the first 3 months after we were married. I was just kind of like, he is the forefront, he is the like my purpose. I have to be the perfect wife for him, and that's not what God wanted for me. He wanted me to, of course, be a great wife, but I can't put my husband on a pedestal before God and try to please him before I can please God. So I have to know that, you know, I am a child of God first, and I'm my husband's wife second. and I have to know that I had to keep my priorities in order. So in order for me to be a good wife to him, I had to have a good relationship with God and have that quiet time with him. So, and I wasn't doing that at that point. And so when I was able to realign and get my priorities intact and like go to God and have time with him, to, you know, for all my times where I was just kind of like, what the heck am I doing? Trying to figure it out on my own. Stop it. You know what I'm saying?
Pinky's up 7. What are some of the adjustments that y'all made going from single to married? Were you shocked or surprised about anything about your spouse in general once you were married?
Yes. I was surprised about how much candy this guy eats. Oh my gosh, I would wash his clothes and I would be pulling out candy wrappers from his pockets, like that he's been eating all day long at work and different places like that. So after that, he went off sweets for a year, and that was on his own volition. And he did it. It's so awesome.
I did have a candy. I do have it. I mean, I'm working through it. Mike and Ike's. I guess for me, adjustments wise, from single to married, I think when you have to account for another person, another soul, another body, I think it was great for us in the beginning to live inside of a loft because we were forced to communicate. We were forced to communicate with one another. You'd come home, it was one couch, it was one TV, and we had to literally sit in front of each other and make it work.
Yeah.
And that was big for us. So when she was speaking about the first 3 months of our marriage, and they weren't bad by far. We just were both trying to be perfect.
Yes.
I was trying to be a perfect husband. She was trying to be a perfect wife, and we didn't really know what we were doing. I mean, we knew what we were doing. We knew our attempt. We knew our heart, but we were trying to be like
our parents.
The
or something
Bible
that
says.
Yeah, it was.
The Bible says that the husband makes all the decisions, or the wife is the cook and everything else. So inside of that, after that 3 months she mentioned before, I came home one day and I was just like, oh man, like babe, this husband thing is pretty tough. The way I'm going at it, can we just be friends again? And from that day forward, I think we've been treating each other like friends since, like literally, for real.
Yeah. Forever Humboldt asked, do I still have my wedding dress? I do still have my wedding dress. If my daughter wants to wear it on her wedding day, I'd be more than happy to allow her to wear it. We have been thinking about doing a trashy dress type thing where he would
for me. I would photograph her.
And so I'm open to that.
I think that'd be way doper than trying to give your daughter your wedding dress. She probably don't even want your wedding dress.
She probably doesn't. But dude chewed up my bill. That's another story for another day. Last question.
Booyah! Did you guys live together before getting married? If so, did it help your marriage? No, we did not live together prior to getting married, which was an adjustment, I guess.
It was an adjustment.
But we were trying to definitely keep that separation so that we both had and maintained separate lives to where we can be ourselves in different arenas, different environment, and make sure that she understood that while we're not married, I am not your head. I am not in control of your life, and in your singleness, God has certain things that He wants to deal with you on, deal in your heart, and I wanted to get the product of that. I didn't want to try to influence everything that she does by her staying inside my household. I know different circumstances for different people, but I think for the most part, it has shown that it makes it pretty tough, you know, going down that route, but all is possible. As long as you're keeping things in perspective.
That.
But,
so,
yeah.
So, thank you guys so much for watching.
Goodbye, my lovies.
Bye, my lovies. See you soon.